Hey guys, welcome to today's live show. Sorry we're a little late. We were also late last week at the Martial Arts Expo. We did a live with Grandmaster Vic Moore. And today we got Shannon The Cannon Hudson, kickboxing world champion, competes in karate combat, CEO of 9 Rounds. There's a lot to talk about today. In general, though, join me and my co-host Brian the Beast Robinson. We go live every Saturday, usually at 12 o'clock Eastern time, but sometimes that'll change. And there's a good reason for that change because Shannon, you had just got finished sparring because you got an upcoming fight, another one in karate combat. So how'd your sparring go earlier today, by the way?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Very honored. But the sparring went great. I mean, it's always a challenge. I'm 44 years old, and all the guys I spar with are these young, hungry, like beasts. They probably eat nails for breakfast, and I'm in the, and I'm trying to spar with them. But it's a blast. I love it.
40s, I think if you live healthy, obviously you work out. I'm assuming you eat healthy. I'm in my 40s. Like I still feel like I'm in college. Like how are you holding up as a professional fighter compared to when you were younger compared to now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I feel I never stopped, even though I haven't competed in 12 years until just recently. I never stopped training. Martial arts is when you're a lifer, man. I mean, you always train. Just because I haven't competed doesn't mean I don't train. So I've always stayed in great shape. I've always taken care of my body, and good shape and fight shape are two different types of shape, two different types of conditioning. So I just had to up my training and tighten down the diet and do a few things. But my body feels great. I don't have any real major injuries. I've had a few broke hands, a broke nose throughout my career. That's common. Everybody has that, right? I mean, that's normal. Bruised ribs, but I haven't had any major like knee problems or hip problems or any major. And I'm very blessed. And my eyes are good, and so I mean, happy to be here. I feel good. I feel 24. I'm 44, but I feel 24. My wife will tell you I act probably 14. So
That's funny. Yeah, that keeps you young, man, having that kind of an attitude for sure, man. Um, let's start at the beginning though. Like when and why did you get into the fight world exactly?
yeah, I know, it's a story I tell a lot, and it's in my family. My brother is almost 9 years older than me, and he started karate when I was born in 1979 here in South Carolina at a local karate school. He saw a kid at a talent show and do the nunchucks, and he's like, I want to do that. So mom and dad took him to karate school, thinking, after a month or two to blow over, and then he'll go to baseball or he'll go to, and then here we are 44 years later, we're both still doing it, and my brother got into kickboxing in the 80s. That's when kickboxing started making its way on ESPN, and
Mhm.
he said, I want to be a world champion kickboxer. And all those great fighters back then, that we all know in the kickboxing world, the Brad Heftons and the Rick Rufuses and the Jean-Yves Terrios, and those guys were the ones that he idolized. And my brother ended up winning 2 world titles as a kickboxer.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, yeah, Kevin Hurricane Hudson, he had a great career. He was an amazing fighter. And so what do? I follow that, when I do karate tournaments as a kid. And then when I turn 16, I start amateur boxing and amateur kickboxing. I would do both.
Mhm.
And I would do a Golden Glove tournament, and then the next weekend go do a kickboxing event. And I had this like crazy, I'd love to compete as a kid. That competition bug got me, and I just would go anywhere and fight anybody, almost any, on a whim, and in the amateur days. And then in 2004 or 5, Chuck Norris League started up, called the World Combat League. I was honored to be. I was on every season of that, and I got to fight 3 seasons with that. And then after that, fought for a world title in the IKF, high kick above the waist. Won that in Canada, and world title in 2011. And that's my martial arts career. I've had some amazing mentors and trainers over the years, and earned black belts, from several different people and styles. And I just love the martial arts, man. I recently went to Korea, and going to Australia, I stopped. The layover was Korea. My wife and I was like, let's stay a few days. And I was like, well, I got to go do a Taekwondo class.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
not a taekwondo guy, but you know what? I'm going to learn. And I set up a private lesson. My wife helped me set it up, and I put on a white belt, and I put on the dobok, and I go do an hour and a half session with this guy that was an incredible kicker, and I learned so much from him. And so it's just having that mentality of always training and always learning. The white belt mentality all the time. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
I
have
ask
that,
a real
keeps you
quick
humble.
question? Just somebody like you who's their entire life been driven to be in the fight aspect, not just doing the martial arts. Like, where did that come from? The desire to fight, to get in there and test your fortitude.
Well, I think with my name, Shannon, that's how I got picked out a lot. You ever seen that? You know the Johnny Cash song, "A Boy Named Sue"? So
Yep.
that's no. Honestly, I mean, martial arts gave me. I was telling my wife this the other day. I think as you look back when you get older, you realize martial arts gave me structure. It gave me a place of belonging. It taught me how to set goals as a kid. White belt, yellow belt, orange belt. It taught me so many lessons, and it really kept me from like straying and going. Who knows what would have happened to me? I mean, but back to competition, as karate tournaments as a kid, I ended up loving to compete. I enjoyed it, and I won some. And when you win, you get that bug. Hey, I want to win again. I want to win again.
Now,
And it
not
just,
everybody can be like you. You're in there taking full contact. I mean, that
yeah.
takes a special person to want to go in and do it day to day. You're kind of a different breed than most of us martial artists. I mean,
Yeah, I know I'm weird, but I'll
I would definitely agree with the martial arts. Of course, it gives your life structure, discipline. I have always credited martial arts and also weightlifting, bodybuilding. It kept me out of trouble because I
yep.
was definitely hanging out with some kids that I could have, and I was on that path of like, heading for trouble. But thank God I found martial arts in the gym, and it just, for 30 years now, basically kept me disciplined and out of trouble. A lot of people like myself, millions have gotten into martial arts because of the movies. Like, John Claude Van Damme growing up for me was the guy, Philip Brie, obviously Bruce Lee. So, were you inspired by the movie martial arts too, or was it mostly the competitive kickboxers?
Oh, I love. I mean, when Bloodsport's on, man, I'm watching it. I mean, my wife's like, "You're watching that cheesy movie?" I'm like, "I love this movie." What do you
Such a classic,
uh,
yeah.
Bruce Lee, big inspiration. Muhammad Ali, big inspiration. I mean, all the the cheesy karate movies are good ones. I mean, I love them. I love them. I could sit all day and watch those things. I mean, uh, but yeah, they're a big inspiration. Karate Kid. I even
Oh,
love
love that
Cobra
movie.
Kai. Cobra Kai
Iconic.
series. I even love that. I mean, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Um, You know, Going back to you said you competed in that Chuck Norris league like in '05. I remember
Mhm.
when that came on, it was really cool. Why do you think it never really took off though?
Yeah, it was very fun. And the sad thing about it is some of the events when you went to them, they were empty seats
Wow.
in the stands, and I'm like, I don't understand, if they're promoting it right, or I don't know if they just I don't know. It was a time when UFC, the MMA was starting to get real traction. I
Mhm.
mean, really popular. I think people were wanting that more than maybe the striking, and that rumor says that Spike TV was going to pick up the World Combat League, but instead they picked up UFC back then because they saw that and was attracted to that. But I don't know. I mean, I heard Mr. Norris lost a lot of money with that deal, because it didn't go through, didn't make it, and it's sad. But I'm very honored. I got to meet some great people. Don Wilson got to, Don. I know you trained with Don some. He
I'm
got to,
training with him later this month for my celebrity
yeah,
boxing match. I talked to him yesterday, man. He's very
yeah.
excited.
He commentated one of my bouts, and it's so cool to watch that bout. And he's commentating. Oh, Hudson's doing that. He's commentating. It's so cool. It's like, oh man, but yeah, but I don't know why it didn't make it.
And
But
Don commented, he did commentary on the UFC back in the day. I think it was UFC 4. So he goes way back. Great commentator. My theory, it kind of seems like Karate Combat is similar to what Chuck had back in the day. I think the main issue with that is that it was more like team based. Like fighting always seemed more like an individual sport. And I didn't even like the team aspect of it, when I was watching it. Though I did like the fights.
Yeah, it was odd because you only had one round. You had six people on a team, one female, five guys. They would all fight 1 3-minute round, and then it was halftime. Then you fight 1 3-minute round again. So the challenge was you only had 3 minutes. And the referees, it was new. They were saying, go, 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 and as a pro kickboxer, you're a little bit more patient, my world title bout was a 12-round bout. I mean, so it's not like this wide open speed and you get a little sloppy, like a tough man contest. I don't know if you remember those that used to go around. So, so it was a little different for yeah. I agree with you. The team thing just doesn't go in the fight world. I don't know if it works, but it was a cool concept, and I was happy to be a part of it.
Oh, for sure. Let's talk about the 9 rounds kickboxing. Like, what motivated you to start that, Jim, and when did you start it?
Yeah, that's our labor of love, right? I mean, my business wise, my brother ended up buying the karate school we grew up in.
Oh,
so
cool.
my first job was teaching kids karate. I was probably 15 years old, teaching little Johnny how to do a bow and say yes sir, and then it became a business. My brother really studied the business part of it, and after I graduated college, he said, let's partner and grow the karate schools. I said, okay, great. So we grew to 3 martial arts schools in the upstate of South Carolina, and very successful. And as I study business, I noticed martial arts schools are just hard to scale, meaning own multiple locations.
Mhm.
You got the instructors have to be black belts. That takes time. Not only that, they have to have the patience of a saint, and working with kids, and they have to have a business skills too. I mean, where do you get this unicorn, right? I mean, it was just hard to scale. But I saw a brand out there that had 8,000 locations. It was a 30-minute circuit, women only. You probably know the name of it, Curves. You remember it?
Okay.
I remember.
And I said, wow, what a awesome business model. 30 minutes, no class time, small footprint, low overhead. I told my wife, I said, honey, let's create a 30-minute kickboxing circuit. And it comes out to a 9-round workout, 9 threes with a 30-second break in between. This actually comes out to 31 minutes total if you're getting, want to be specific. But so in 2008, I told my brother, hey, my wife and I want to start this thing. My brother's like, go for it. It's all you. It was 2008, the recession. He didn't want to be on another lease. I get it, So me and Heather went all in. Heather's my wife, and Heather's the co-founder, chief operating officer. And we started with no money. I mean, we had no money. There were no sushi dinners. It was max out credit card. We couldn't even afford a sign on the building. But after 30 days, we had 100 members, and I said, wow. And there was no social media marketing back then either. It was, it was pass out a flyer. It was, word of mouth. And now here we are in 17 countries. We're opening in India here next week. We have 50 locations in Saudi Arabia. We have 13 in Japan. We have, I mean, we're in 6 in Costa Rica. We're so blessed. And now, my goal, my life mission is to get as many people as I can punching and kicking. That's because I know what it's done for me.
Sure.
And so when people joke around and they're talking about how many students their martial arts schools have, I just smile, and I'm sitting over here with,
How many schools do you have right now? You said,
well, there's call them studios.
Studio.
I was close to 500 around the world, right at the 500 number. And
how do you do it? It's like is there boxing rings, or is it just you set it more up like curves type thing, or?
Well, yeah, it's first off, you never get hit. So there's no person-to-person sparring. It's all about fitness and fun, right? It's about just having a great time. there's 6 different bags in there that they learn to work: double end bag, heavy bag, wrecking ball, uppercut bag. They jump rope. They do some weight training in a round, strength training. They do a core round. So it's 9 different rounds. The workout changes every day that we program from the home office and give to them. And our newest studios have tech. They have a screen at each station with the drill that changes every day on a video, which is so cool. It's our newest tech, and we're so proud of it. Before, it was you write it up on a workout board, on like a dry erase board at each round. But now it's a screen, and we're so proud of it, and we're patenting the technology and doing all this crazy stuff. But it's a ton of fun. Yeah. So that you train like a pro, and that's where I got the idea too. Down at Mr. Biggs, the Philadelphia. So if you look at our studios, a lot of it's brick walls. It's faux brick. It's not real brick because they're retail centers. It's faux brick, and it's that I wanted to bring that type of old school type of training to the average person. But take out the getting hit part. No one likes the
not as fun to get hit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's better to give than to receive, as they
Yeah,
say.
there you go.
But yeah, so that's how the model works. And we've been 15 years old. July was our 15th anniversary last year. And we're cranking along. So a lot of fun.
Wow, that is freaking awesome. Like, your average studio, how many classes a day do you guys have in the average studio?
Yep. Here's the cool thing that's going to blow your mind is there's never a class time because the bell's ringing every 3 minutes. So like if we all 3 walked in right now, the trainer would plug one of you around 1 of you would start around 9, and one of you would start around 8. And one of us will start around 8, and we'll go around to all the rounds. It's like a conveyor belt. It's a circuit.
Oh, okay.
So there's so the beautiful thing about that people like is you're never late for a class. You just come and the times are open.
Wow.
And so you could come in at 5:34 or 6:13 in the morning and get plugged into one of the stations and go. And our latest model we're very proud of is open 24/7.
Wow.
And there's trainer-led times of day that the trainers are there working the circuit. But then because we have the screens and the tech, you don't have to have a trainer to guide you around. You can go around on your own. So now, the latest thing is, so our big unique selling proposition for a customer is the convenience factor. You're going to get a different workout every day. It's fun, it's fast, and you're never late, and you can go whenever you want, and you can have instruction. The instruction might be from a live trainer. It might be from a screen, but you're going to have guidance every time.
That's pretty genius. Like, the average workout, it sounds like the average person's going to do 9 rounds. Can someone do 6, or maybe someone want to be crazy and do 20?
Yeah, of course.
Do as many as you want, as many or as little as you want.
Yeah, if it's trainer-led time and the trainers are there pushing, we train our people. If they want to do more, then you didn't do the job. You didn't train them hard enough, right? so you got to push them. But now if they're self-guided and they want to pace and do more, no problem. Or if they only have 20 minutes of time and can't, and just want to get a little bit in and get out the door, no problem. So that's, again, the beautiful part. It's such a flexible model. Wow. It's
Are you franchise or are you all corporate owned?
Franchise, yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Yeah. There's a shout out to anybody out there.
We love the franchise industry. It's such a cool model because you're letting people own their own business, but yet they have some guidance, some structure, and support. And that, because owning your own business is scary, but you can tap into a brand that's been around 15 years, that has all the marketing assets, has a support team. We have 45 people in the office, and a marketing team, legal team. We got all these things that the franchise owner has at their disposal, and they don't have to figure out on their own, right? So
how big does a space have to be? Like, what would be the minimum?
1,500 square feet. So
15.
So you don't.
And do you hang bags, or do you go with the racks? Like, how would that be set up?
Yeah, we have we fab a metal fab. We call it a hangman system. It's a metal structure that holds the bag. This way we can hang them, or we can put them where we need them, because you hang from rafters, you don't always have the rafter in the right place or the structure. And retail wise, we've learned too, we're noisy. I mean, we got bells ringing, a speed bag. You've heard it. I mean, if you're next to a nail salon and the speed bags roll, or you're next to a dentist office and the speed bags just purring, I mean, they're like, what the? So we've had to be really careful of like who our neighboring tenants are, and even soundproofing. We've had to get really savvy on how to soundproof walls and mitigate sound, and sound engineers and all this jazz. I mean, it sounds like when I sit here and say 500 locations, you're like, oh great, but it's been a tough road, man. It's been a hard road.
And what's your biggest one? How big is the biggest?
Well, our biggest ones are overseas in Saudi Arabia, because by law over there they have some different rules and laws. You have to have full showers and locker rooms, so the square footage goes up there. And let me tell you, over there, their showers and locker rooms are like freaking spas. They're so gorgeous, right? They're like, over here, we can just, put in a bathroom and people can just go in and out. No shower in America, but over there. So the square footage over there is around 2,500 square feet or 250 square meters. Where here, they can be a lot smaller units.
How'd you get into that market? Like, did somebody from Saudi Arabia reach out to you, or did you specifically say, I need to get into Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, no, I didn't specifically say I'm going to get to Saudi Arabia. It's that'd be an odd one, right?
Yeah, it would be.
Well, there's like real estate brokers out there. There are franchise brokers, and it's the same business. They will get a commission based on a franchise being awarded. So we tap into the broker network, and there's international broker networks that some are really good in the Middle East, and some are really good in Asia Pacific. Some are really good in Latin America. So you just find a good broker that you mesh well with, and they go out and start pitching you, and then some things happen easily and some take a while. But yeah, that's how we got there.
Yeah, that's awesome, because that's like 10%
This is
of
actually
your
fascinating.
facilities. That's amazing.
Yeah, this is really fascinating stuff. Wow.
In the US, like, what's the average membership? Like, is it monthly, or do you got to sign up for a year?
Nope. Well, franchisees have the option to run the memberships many different ways. Most do a month-to-month deal where you can cancel with 30 days notice. It's a monthly membership. Some offer 10 or 20 session packs you could do. Some let you prepay for a year if you want, or prepay for 6 months if you want. So we leave a lot of flexibility up to the franchise owner, because there's also some franchise laws about like we can't dictate price.
Oh, you can't. Okay.
Yeah, you can dictate a maximum price, but not a minimum price. But there's some laws that we have to be careful about, because they're their own business. If they're all corporately owned, I could control it all.
Oh,
right?
sure.
I could say, hey,
Yeah.
but they're not. So I can't tell them things like who to hire, who to fire. I can't tell them how to pay an employee. I can recommend, say, here's what we've seen happen in Pennsylvania. Here's what we've seen happen in Florida. Here's what we do in South Carolina in our one corp store we have here. So it varies across, but it is a membership-based business. Yeah.
Very cool. Let's go back to the fighting. So you said you stopped competing professionally 12 years ago. Why did you stop 12 years ago?
Well, I won the world title in the IKF world title above the waist kickboxing, and started focusing on business. And I have 2 kids. I have a 23-year-old daughter. She'll be 24 this month. She's my stepdaughter, but call her my daughter, and love her to death. And then my 16-year-old son. So with business and family, as you're getting older, your priorities shift. And then when Karate Combat came, I said, man, I really like that format. I think I could do well there. And I don't have my world title fight on video. And I said,
oh, really? No. So nobody could see your world title fight?
Yeah, because the promoter was friends with the Canadian that I fought, and they're not going to give me a video of that. So because I beat the dude,
but it was broadcast at the time. Like, somebody could have the footage that they filmed at the time, right?
I can't find it. I don't have it. No one will. So
just for fun, has anybody ever questioned it? Because like somebody might say, "Oh, this dude's like Frank Dukes. There's no footage of his Kumite fights."
Well, you can see on YouTube like an interview after the fight of me in the ring, but you can't see the fight. And I'm like, man. So I said, okay, well, I need to just fight some more and win another world title maybe, and then get it on video, right? So
There you go.
let's do it in Karate Combat. And so I reached out to Karate Combat. They're like, no, you're old, yada yada. And I don't even think they know who I was. And I sent them some fight footage of me, and they're like, okay, well, we'll let you. And they're like, do you want to sponsor Karate Combat too? So with 9 round, and I said, you know what? In the sponsorship deal, if you let me fight, yes. You don't even have to pay me. So actually, I paid to fight.
Okay.
Actually, I'm the guy paying. I pay my own way, all my medicals. I do everything just so I can compete. And
Oh,
and
sure.
and I'm at the level now I can afford to do that. And I'm the only fighter with my company name on that pit.
I seen that, and everybody watching, you can watch that fight now on YouTube. Karate Combat posted it on their channel a few days ago. Great fight. How many views did you say that fight already got on YouTube?
21. It's up to 21,000 in like 3 days. So
21,000 against a legend, Shinzo Machida, Lyoto Machida's brother.
Yep.
A really good fight, competitive fight. I thought you were obviously more aggressive. Like how did that fight go in your opinion?
Yeah, it was fun. I have all the respect in the world for anyone who gets in there, especially the Machida family is such a highly regarded, respected family in martial arts, and I have all the respect. They were so nice to me after the fight. They came up, we were taking photos and hugging, and they were great. But the fight itself was if you watch it, some people think it was a boring fight, but it was a very strategic fight, and there was a lot of things happening people don't really understand.
You got to watch it like 2 or 3 times to really get it.
Yes.
I mean, I could see it, but yeah, like you said, strategic, big time.
Like I knew he was a big right-handed, right-sided guy. And I knew he was a counter guy, and I was wanting to counter the counter. I wanted to get him to throw, and when I got him to throw, then fire 3, 4, 5, maybe catch him while he's exiting on the way out. And I did a few things really well, but I thought I actually won the fight, but that's okay. I had a blast. I had a blast doing it. I didn't get hurt. I want to do it again. So I had a great time doing it, and not many people can say they fought a Machida, so I can say it
in a competitive fight. Like it could have gone either way. I think the judges gave him the unanimous decision. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't have at least been a split decision because it was highly competitive. You were more aggressive, but and maybe they just gave it to him because of the name. I mean, I'm sure there's politics involved. It was a close fight, so it could go either way. But he does have the Machida name. I'm sure that probably helped.
I knew if I didn't knock him out, I probably wouldn't win that. It'd be a very hard one to win, but that's okay. I mean, I thought, in Karate Combat, they have a really neat rule I like, was there's no split decisions. So they do an extra round.
Okay. They don't even have that rule in Karate
Yeah.
Combat.
So if there's a split, they make you do another round.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of like. And I said, when that final bell rang, I said, I know it's going to be another round. I know. So I didn't even go back up to the corner. They were wanting me to go back to the corner, go back. But I felt I got another round to go. So I just stayed down in the pit. I didn't even go back to the corner. I said, I'm just ready. Let's do it. Let's just do it. And we didn't do another round. I'm like, oh, dang,
Do you think 3 rounds is enough? Because again, it was strategic. I could see it was like a lot of filling out. So it's almost like the first round, you're just kind of like filling them out. I mean, so by the end of the 3rd round, you guys still have all your energy. No one really got hurt. Like I almost think Karate Combat should do like 5-round matches.
The world title bouts are 5. So
yeah, like the UFC. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for that fight, I wish I'd had a couple more rounds, and I was a slow starter. I should have started faster, and you live and learn, and that's the ring rust. The next fight, I'm going to start a good bit quicker actually, and I just want to get my volume up and the striking. I just need to throw more. I just need to throw more and throw more volume. And if I do that, I think I'll be just fine. So I'm excited in Mexico City to do that. So I'm actually leaving tomorrow to get down there and train in that altitude. It's 7,000 feet down there, altitude. I'm sitting here in 1,000, right?
Oh,
in South Carolina.
Yeah, pretty big difference there.
So
when is that fight in Mexico City?
February 23rd.
February 23rd. And you do not know your opponent yet?
I got a name, but he hasn't accepted. You know
Okay.
me, I'm crazy. The guy, the matchmaker email, he texts, he's like, "How about this guy?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't care who it is." Yes, and
You just want to fight. You're just eager.
put me in because I'm paying for it. I'm not even getting paid. I'm not even
Yeah,
negotiating.
you're the sponsor helping put on the whole
Yeah, man.
show, which is
Like,
cool.
yeah, put me in. He's like, I'm waiting on him. So he's a guy. He's from America, and he's a sport karate guy, and won a lot of world titles sport karate. So I'm excited to fight him.
And you're going to keep fighting at 155?
I like that weight. I mean, the weight class ends at 150 actually, and they do it's a catch weight. If it's not a title fight, you can do a catch weight. So
Okay.
I walk around right now about 64, 65, 164,
Okay,
65.
so it's a little cut, not much. Yeah.
It's not much, but I mean, before I started training serious for this, I was 175. I was like,
Okay, walking around a little bigger,
oh,
sure.
yeah. So, but now I'm about like this 162 this morning. So, I just keep an eye on my diet, and I'll get down there.
For sure. And during that last karate combat fight against Machida, it was funny because I seen Brian's good friend cornering you, Xavier Biggs.
Yeah,
The best padman in the country.
oh my gosh, he's such a legend, man. I mean, I've known him for about 20 years, and he trained, worked with my brother a lot, and he used to have a gym in Greensboro, North Carolina. So he would drive from Atlanta to Greensboro and stop here in Greenville and train my brother and me, and I'd go down to Atlanta to the gym I saw you guys at, and I'd go down 2-3 times a week. I would drive down, drive back same day, train.
Oh, how far is that drive?
2.5 hours one
Oh,
way.
okay. It's long,
Yeah.
but not too horrible, but kind of long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's interesting you had our first event for the Circle of Legends.
yeah. I help sponsor it as well. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, it's
Thank you.
he's doing a great
Helping
thing,
And if you ever have any of your 9 rounds in cities want a boxing legend to pop in once in a while, let me know. We had some of them who are out there who are forgotten but have amazing things to share.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you just hang around Mr. Biggs, you're gonna hear some really cool stories about,
Oh,
fighters and his fighting, and yeah, it's just so fun to be around him and know him. I think of him like people think boxing is separate than martial arts. I think it is a martial art. Boxing is a martial
Oh,
art.
sure.
And I think Mr.
let me
Biggs
ask
is
you about
for you.
that. So
Yeah.
saying that, do you think it's because in the Eastern world it became a way of life, a way of thinking, a philosophy, whereas boxing never really took on that full aspect where it was almost a blend, a little bit like Shintoism, Taoism. They mixed all this stuff, but boxing never quite got that kind of ideology mixed into it. So we forget it's a martial arts because we're not doing the bowing and we don't have the rituals and the kind of philosophy.
I think you nailed it. And maybe we can educate people a little bit, but boxing is a martial art, and I think
Or
Mr.
like
Biggs
light.
he's a ninja. He's a legend of fighting. I mean, that's where I really learned. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I mean, in the karate school, you didn't sometimes spar as hard, or but where you really learn to fight is some of these nasty boxing gyms. I mean, they're you go in, like Biggs would take me to different gyms in Atlanta to get me in a different atmosphere to make me nervous, right? And sometimes I'd go in and I'm like, Biggs, you think my car is going to be okay out here? And he's like, you're with me, you'll be fine. I'm like, okay, good.
Somebody wants to know, would you challenge Andrew Tater's brother? I mean, it's a big weight difference. I think they're way up in the heavyweights.
No, he's pretty thin. Maybe 170 he'd cut down to
All right.
185.
I mean, it always looks big to me on the thing, but maybe isn't that big.
Yeah, I don't know Andrew Tate. But
Oh, you don't know who Andrew Tate is?
Not much about
Oh,
him.
he's huge on social media. He talks always about breaking out of the matrix, right? We're all like slaves to this matrix thing. So he got, he's an interesting guy, but he's an ex-world kickboxing champion like yourself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You'd
Yeah, I mean,
probably take any fight, though, it sounds like, so you probably would fight him.
yeah, sure. I mean, I love it. I mean, I love the sport, and I learn from everyone. I respect everyone. You know, it's one thing. What I liked about karate combat was the black belt on, the traditional pants.
Yeah, that's
Love
cool.
it. Love it. What I don't like is when they're allowing, you know, all the trash talk and
I gotta get the big drama going, you know?
yeah, I think it's kind of silly. I think the minute you put the black, if you want to attract families and kids and get a ton of eyeballs on that sport,
Mm.
you have to make it family friendly. I'm telling you right now.
Let me ask you about that, Shannon. Do you think that was the problem? Some of the problems at USC is they took traditional arts and then got rid of kind of that very hardcore. We bow to our opponent, where there's the philosophy way of the warrior, Buddha, all those things, and it's kind of disappeared. And now it's like boxing can be sometimes, where there isn't the respect that should be there between the two opponents, at least the ritualized aspect.
Well, 100%. I mean, that's how you differentiate yourself from
Mm.
the boxing, from the MMA, is you bring, you know, I love what karate combat's doing. I just, you know, if I was a part of it in a bigger way, I would definitely make sure that it's family friendly. And between bouts, I wouldn't have, you know, alien strippers. I would like they have in Vegas. I would have high level martial arts demonstrations on the
I
pit.
love that.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good idea, and that would
why don't you?
differentiate it too.
Yeah, why don't you have board breaking and weapons and people doing cool flips and stuff
Hmm.
between fights and then have the fights? But no, they have, you know, they trash it up with this and that and then the smack talking and yeah, I know drama and people like that, but I think there's a way to do it in a very classy way and be respectful to the art. I think the minute you put the black belt on, the level of like respect should go. I mean that
You
black
know,
belt means
it's
something.
Good point.
interesting. You
Yeah.
say that. When I was in the military, I don't know if you served in the military, but the uniform was greater than you as an individual. And you were representing a history and people who came before you who wore that uniform. So you weren't yourself. When you put that on, regardless of what your issues in life were, your prejudices, your stereotypes, anything that you had that was corrupted in your head, you became transformed when you put that uniform, because you had to be greater than your flawed humanity. And I think that's kind of what that belt should represent, a movement away from the flawedness.
Yeah, I mean, there were some fighters doing their photo shoot before, and they couldn't even tie their black belt. I'm like,
They've been out of the dojo for a while.
dude, come on. I mean,
Wow.
and some of them were great fighters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not good fighters. Great combatants. Are they martial artists? I don't know. Right? Big difference.
Speaking of the belts, I believe you're a 4th-degree black belt under Bill Superfoot Wallace. Like, have you specifically trained with him or under one of his instructors?
No, with him. I mean,
With him himself.
and
For how long?
and I have my black belt under Joe Lewis.
Joe Lewis, the late Joe Lewis, which is really cool.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yes,
Not
yes,
Joe.
karate.
You know,
We were actually just with one of his students. What was that guy's name who's right next to us?
Joe Lewis's students.
He was a student. Remember, we had the booth at the event. There was a guy right next to us who was Joe Lewis's.
I mean, there were
They were
so
being
many
represented
great
for us.
people at that event. Like, and I was barely at my booth, by the way, because I was making the rounds, talking to everybody. So yeah, I
You
forgot.
probably know the guy. He was with Joe
I probably
Lewis.
know the guy. You know, I mean, but there's like 50 guys there that I know, 100 guys. You know, so
well, Joe, I'm so proud about that black belt because Joe was alive. I got it in 2006 with Joe, and in fact, I saw my brother sparred Joe for his black belt when Joe would spar everybody.
okay.
Joe would spar
Wow.
everybody. He would kick you in the nuts. He would and spar with you and hit you as hard as he could. And if you pass, and if you didn't get knocked out, you passed his test. That's how Joe was. You know,
That's how
it
you
was like
pass,
that
that's
kind of guy.
funny.
I didn't get to spar with Joe, but Joe watched me spar, and I learned all the combinations from Joe. And Joe and Biggs were super close. I don't know. A lot of people don't know
Oh, I didn't
this.
know that. That's
What?
A lot of people don't know
I
this.
didn't-
Yeah, Joe when he saw Biggs, he would give Biggs hand pads and say, "Let's go practice." And they would go in the back and they would be at an event, but they'd be back there learning combinations. And
What a connection.
I know, and people don't know that.
And that goes back to Bruce Lee too, right? Because Joe Louis was a big. Can you talk about that a little bit? I'm a huge Joe Louis and Bruce Lee fan, but somebody who saw it being taught from Joe Louis. What did you experience when he talked about Bruce Lee?
He said Bruce was just very charming guy, very fast, very, very quick, very athletic, and very, very just charming. And he trained with 2 years from Bruce. And, he didn't talk bad about Bruce, or he didn't talk much about him. But then Bill, Bill got his black belt under the same school in Japan in Okinawa that Joe got his black belt with. Same instructor. Bill was just there a year later than Joe. And then those guys came back and pioneered karate into full contact. But Bill, I mean, we're very close with Bill. In fact, we source a lot of Bill's products for him, his gloves, and Bill uses our filming studio to film his curriculum. And I've gotten my 4th degree black belt with my 3rd and 4th under Bill, and his test is hard. It's not an easy test. When people do it, it's pretty challenging, and he's incredible.
Well, what is Bill's test exactly?
Yeah. Well, first off, he's going to drill you on technique.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get in your stance, and he's really sideways, and if you watch, even Don Wilson says he learned a lot from Bill on that sideways positioning. He's a big side kicker. Bill is a side kick is Bill's thing, side, hook, and round kick. You never see Bill do a front kick and then Bill likes to stay long. I mean, and if you get in the pocket with Bill, he's going to teach you how to get back out so he can kick, because that's where Bill wants to be. He does not want to be Bill can box. Don't get me wrong. He spent a lot of time in the boxing ring, but all his moves are geared to get him out of the pocket and get him back where he can fire that side kick and fire the kicks. But so you'll do drills with him. Then you'll do partner drills with him where you have to, kick at your partner and back and kick at your partner and back. And then you'll hold his arm and keep your leg up and do all the conditioning kicks.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And that's so hard. He'll make you hold it out there and back and hold it out there. And he's a very funny guy, joking around a lot. And, he's awesome. And then you'll spar at the end. He wants to watch you use the moves, the Bill Wallace moves, spar, not just go out sparring. So, and he's got some good stuff. If you watch my Chinzo fight, I do a side kick, and then the next move I pull it to a hook kick, and I slipped, but the hook kick nailed him because I had trained Chinzo on that side kick, and then came the next time up top. And then the bad thing is I never did it again. I did one good thing and then never did it again. I'm like, dang. Anyway,
how difficult is it to do a side kick in full combat? You see it really shown in the UFC, but you do see them use it in, was it Choi Sao, the kind of Chinese kickboxing, and you see it. But how difficult is it to pull it off in actual full contact?
It's an underutilized move. It's super underutilized. And you look at some of the greatest kickboxers ever, the Rick Rufuses, and they used a great sidekick. I mean, the Benny the Jet. I mean, great sidekick. I mean,
yeah, especially his spinning sidekick for sure.
Yeah, and a spinning back kick. Oh my gosh. I mean, those moves are so underutilized, but very powerful and very good, and hard to get out of the way of. Even if it hits you in the arm, it's so powerful. It's going to pull you back, right? I mean, so I'm going to even work it more, and it's a move that I think. Maybe it's just because it's flexibility. Maybe a lot of people can't do it well. I don't know for flexibility work purposes, but I like the kick, and I'm going to utilize it more.
I'd say the guy that utilizes it the best that I've seen in the UFC, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Totally,
he's had a lot of success.
Yeah.
We grew up. We fought on a lot of the same amateur cards together, me and Stephen, and he was just a heavier weight class than me. I mean, all of them. I mean. And he is an incredible striker, and he uses the sidekick great. I mean, so it can be done. It can be done. And is it hard to land? Maybe. But even if it hits the arms, it's still powerful, you know. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Have
What
you?
about Joe Rogan's kick there? You ever see that one? It's kind of like
Yeah.
that modified, almost that thing's frightening.
Dude, that guy can kick. I mean, that guy can kick. It's impressive. Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah, he's got some crazy power. Hey, by the way, where'd you get your nickname, the Cannon?
It's the only thing that'll rhyme with Shannon. So I'm like, all right, I'll be the Cannon.
You had to take it by default. Okay, so you just like called yourself the Cannon yourself. It's like, okay, that rhymes, works.
Yeah.
It's like Brian the Beast. There's no beast. It just rhymes with Brian.
Yeah, it just sounds good.
Flows good.
Rolls
It
off the
flows
tongue.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it flows really good. Have you ever trained though with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson?
Yeah. Yeah. My brother and I
Okay.
used to go and work out with him all the time, and his dad. I mean, they're incredible. I mean, in fact, I live right down the road from them, so we don't talk much. I mean, Stephen went the UFC route and did really, really well. I'm super proud of him, and he's always been a super respectful, great guy. So I wish him the best, and I'd love to see him. I mean, he commentates Karate Combat some. I'd love to see him jump in there. He would do amazing. I mean,
I'm sure he'll be in Karate Combat because it looked like he was going to make one last run in the UFC for the title, right? But then he did lose that fight, his last one against a much younger opponent. So, but he's still like right up there, maybe not for the UFC title. He had a couple chances against Tyron Woodley, but
yeah.
I predict we'll see him in Karate Combat. It just seems like a natural fit,
Yeah, he would spank anybody in there. I mean, it'd be great to see him fight Raymond Daniels. That almost happened.
Oh, yeah, well,
It happened in the World Combat League for 30 seconds, and Stephen blew his knee out, unfortunately.
Oh, geez.
It was, but that would be a great one to see. Everybody wants to see that. But yeah, I mean, he uses the psychic good too. Yeah, so he's great with it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I always stunk with it, so I'd have to train with you a little bit to get with
Bill will train.
We didn't kick bags in the old days, we just always were kicking air. And I think you really learn that penetration. You probably kicked the bag a lot.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Bill will work with you on it. He'll get you right.
He was at Alan Goldberg's martial arts event, Brian. I don't know if you've seen Bill Wallace there. I think he even did a seminar there. So he's still.
I may have seen him, but he was crowded with people, and it was like I saw Benny the Jet. I got to tell him, talk, and what's your name? My big hero,
Kathy Long.
Kathy Long. Oh my God, I remember. God, makes me feel how we realize we're all old. I'm 52, going on 53. I remember when I was like 14 or something, and she was just this amazing person in Black Belt magazine, and I had some stories I had to ask her about. She had beat up a guy once, and I said, "Did that really?" And she says, "Oh yeah, some guy started some stuff with her, and she laid a beating on him." But yeah, she's an incredible fighter, and I've studied mixed martial arts, and that was amazing to see all those guys and women that I'd seen. Cynthia Rothrock, all of them, man, they were. I don't know, larger than
and of course, Grandmaster Vic Moore was there. So he's from the Carolinas. He actually, I believe, had the first like full contact kickboxing match against Joe Louis. So do you know Vic Moore?
I don't know Vic. I've heard of him, but yeah, the Carolina is a hotbed for martial artists. I mean, and I think it's probably because the Battle of Atlanta. Do you remember that tournament? Used to be a massive.
Oh, I think Don Wilson fought there, didn't he?
Yeah. My brother was in the Battle of Atlanta back, in the early 80s.
What weight class was your brother?
My brother he won a world title at 189, which is cruiserweight.
Okay.
And then he went up and won another world title in a smaller organization at like 195 or 196 was the weight he was at. But he's 6'2". I'm 5'8". On a good day when it's warm outside. So I don't know. He got all the height.
Well, your brother crossed paths with Don Wilson, though, has he? Because Don's like 6'1".
He never did get to fight Don, but he's met Don, and Don's amazing. Don Wilson. What can you say, right? The legendary guy.
He wants to fight again. He's like, I think he's 68, but his reactions are still there. He's still healthy. He still moves good. I got to move with him a little bit in the ring last summer in May, and then later this month I'll actually do a lot of sparring and training with him. But he's still really sharp at 68.
Can you get down to 155? I'm just kidding.
You want to fight Don?
I'm joking.
That's funny.
Don's
I
awesome.
asked Don about fight because he was interested at fighting Tim Witherspoon once. He wasn't sure. He'd forgotten who he was, and he said, so I saw him at the event. I said, "You still interested in fighting Tim?" He says, "Videos." No, I want nothing to do with that over here, right? So
not in a boxing match. He wouldn't, and then Tim would not fight Don in a kickboxing match because Tim doesn't want to get kicked. So
yeah. You got a big celebrity bout coming up, right? I mean,
oh yeah, this is March 9th, and yeah, I'm really excited, man. Like I'm already, like you said, I mean, you've been a professional fighter for a long time, but even when you first retired about 12 years ago, like you still always trained, you still always stayed in shape. So, like I've pretty much been in shape my whole life since I started training, like back in 1993. I've just been that consistent. Now, I haven't been like a professional fighter like you, but I've always been in good shape. So, like, of course, now this is boxing and I got to focus a lot on that, especially the head movement, which I've been doing a lot of focusing on. I got to get the sparring rounds in. It'd be much, much easier for me to just transition and do karate combat, though, to be honest, because that's I'm a kicker. I started with Taekwondo, Kenpo, afterwards. And, and again, I grew up with Van Damme movies. So of course like the kicks look so cool in movies and that's what I train the most, but I'm having fun, taking up the boxing stuff. And I'm very excited about this.
You're going to train with Biggs a little bit yourself.
I need to. Yes, I do. This go around though, it's going to be with Don Wilson, and maybe I do a little bit of training in Detroit with Jackie Kalin's guys. Jackie Kalin is, of course, they made the movie Against the Ropes with her starring Meg Ryan. So she's very influential in the boxing world. And I'm quite honored to have her, as part of the team. So, but yeah, it'll be exciting, man. I'm excited. And, hey, we should get you in because you had a boxing match at the Circle Legends against the chess boxer guy.
Yeah. First time I met him, it was great. It was a lot
He's
of
actually
fun.
pretty good. I've seen videos. Now, the bummer was, and I think I told you, we flew Spirit Airlines and our plane was delayed 3 hours because some lady OD'd on it. And then some other lady almost got arrested. It was a nightmare flight. So we got there 3 hours later than we anticipated. So this was after your fight. How did that boxing match go, by the way, against that chess boxer dude?
Great. Yeah, it was just 3 rounds. I mean, 3 2-minute rounds. So it was a lot of fun. It was anytime I can do that little exhibition in front of a crowd is just great for me because you get the little bit of jitters and little nerves and, it help mimic the fight arena. So it was great. I had a blast. I mean, it's a little heavier weight, but I think I held my own pretty well. And,
how much weight did he have on you?
I mean, it's probably 190. I think it's 190 pounds. He told me.
Big? That's more than a little extra weight.
Don't worry about it, man. I just
you got the speed, man.
Yeah, let's just go, man. Let's just go.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's why I say the full contact guys. You guys have a little bit more than most of us. We're all rest of us. I ain't getting in there.
Yeah, you just get used to it. You just get used to like. Yeah, I mean, you never like getting hit. It's not, but your body, you just get used to it, and you just push through it, and and just suck it up, right? You just go.
It's because you're a warrior, brother. That's you're a warrior.
We try. I'm excited. I'm leaving tomorrow for Mexico City to get some training.
Acclimated to the high elevation. That's cool, man.
And everybody in Mexico City can fight. Everybody's in shape. Even the winos. The old joke is the wino can fight down there. So I'm gonna get some great sparring and with some pros down there and learn some tricks of the trade. And I'm excited to do it. So
are you taking Xavier down there
for the fight? Yes. For this, no. I'm taking my brother. My brother's my head coach.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then we got Biggs. Also locally here in South Carolina, we have Teddy Cruz. Teddy Cruz trained Arturo Gotti and worked with a lot of pros. He's originally from Puerto Rico, but lives here now. And so I've got some great people around me My wife helps with my nutrition. She was a fitness competitor, bikini competitor.
Oh,
She
really?
knows
Okay, so she knows everything about the dieting and nutrition.
how to get my weight down, and
Ooh,
uh,
nice.
so I've got a really good team, and I've got the time now and the resources to travel to Mexico and
Mm.
train for a week and come back and go back for the fight. And I've got the resources and the people and to do it better now than I had 15 years ago. And that's what I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, you're in a good position because of the 9 Rounds gyms. Very popular
Yeah,
franchise, 500 of them. That's
yeah.
insane. Hey, somebody asked in the chat, one last thing here. If you were ever interested or wanted to do movies, because a lot of guys who get into martial arts, like obviously we, like to do the movies and the movie fights. Were you ever interested in doing anything with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be a blast. I mean, I don't know much about acting, right? I mean, most martial artists don't flow well to acting. It's usually the other way around. Most great actors learn a little bit of martial arts, right? So,
Sure.
but oh man, of course I'd be interested in doing that. I'd love to do that. It would be a ton of fun to do. So yeah, put me in, man. Put me in, coach. Put
Bob,
me in.
one of your
Yeah, it's definitely fun, man. Because I get to say now that I fought in the Kumite, because I fought in the movie Kumite coming out, I think at the end of April or May, the last Kumite movie. But it's such a blast to have fought in the Kumite, right?
I'm excited about that movie, man. I'll be watching it. So
All the legends are in there, man. Billy Blanks, Matthias Hughes, Tong Po from Kickboxer, Muhammad Kisi, Cynthia Rothrock, Kurt McKinney from No Retreat, No Surrender. I think he's only one of 2 guys who ever beat Van Damme up in a movie, right? It was Shokasugi in Black Eagle, and then Kurt McKinney in No Retreat, No Surrender. And then Van Damme, of course, became a big name, so he would always have to beat people in movies after
yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, man, congrats to you. You're doing some great things, and I know you love martial arts, and it's awesome to talk to people that love it like I do. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure, man. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up here. We usually go about an hour. Can you hang out for like a second though after we cut this?
Sure, of course.
Hey, Brian, you gonna cut it?
sign it off.
Okay. I think he's cutting it.
You want me to cut it? Oh, I
Oh
didn't know.
yeah. No, we're
Say goodbye to
good.
everyone.
We're good.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you. That was my cue. I totally missed. Thank you for joining, everybody. We look forward to see you next Saturday. But at this time, we'll be at 12. But we did a special thing because this gentleman is very busy. All right. See you,
Training for
everybody.
a fight. Make sure to watch the next Karate Combat, Mexico.